it's such an essential kind of part of quality of life on the island, of stopping people from getting too isolated and kind of creating that sense of community. And so one of the main things that the building tries to address is this kind of sense of it being somewhere that can provide space for all of these different activities, but that it can also act as a kind of living room for the community. And the building design is to create these series of kind of different flexible spaces that can intermingle and overlap, letting as much of the island flooding through it and there being a sense of permeability to the building. But equally, there's a very harsh climate, particularly in the winter. So the palette of materials was chosen to be able to be as kind of low maintenance and robust as possible, and to be natural materials that would weather in a kind of graceful way that suited the context that they were in.
The THACKRAY Medical Museum, as was, had all of the challenges that an old, complicated Victorian building had. The circulation in the building really militated against people getting to enjoy the collection.
And there were parts of the building which were actually very difficult to find. We proposed to introduce a new atrium and a new stair in the centre of the building, which would shed light into the heart of the building, make it far more welcoming.
It sort of created a route through to what we're calling the core of the building, which is a whole sort of suite of rooms and facilities, which we've more or less handed over to the community for a whole load of different uses.
It's really interesting to see those new uses with the community, but the atrium itself, with its tiling which sort of reflects, is a very exciting space.
We've used a different format of tile to the original, but we've tried to replicate the colour of the original. So there's still that dialogue between old and new. We identified that actually the building has a lot of space that it wasn't really used. In a way, by rethinking how the inside of the building is arranged, we've managed to minimise the amount of materials we've had to use and make the building slightly more sustainable.
This project was for UK's largest sawmill in Lockerbie, for people who would come and find out more about what their business does. Our key design move was to use all of the timber that this sawmiller produces. They only mill softwood, Douglas fir or larch, and the idea is we showcase that timber and how it can be used in a building. It's a very industrial site. It was an interesting place to put this little building and for it not to feel very small. One of the things that helped us was the height. We used a black base to give it some gravitas, some weight, and at a higher level we've used a finish called a CU. On the ground floor there's a wing of offices. There's 4 offices, it houses about 15 people, but the main function was above that was to have a big meeting room. That room has been designed to have the best view, so it's on the first floor, it's a big panoramic window. One of the interesting things, the rafters are 160 by 25 millimeters thick, and that 25 millimeters became one of the key things on the project. And we used Douglas fir. Douglas fir is the best, the most stable softwood, and it's got a lovely colour and can be as dimensionally stable as oak. But this is a very eco-friendly building.
What If was originally part of Scotland's submission to the Venice Biennale in 2020, and it was a response to the question, how do we live together? And the response we came up with was just get architects working more directly with communities to explore their ambitions and hopes for the future. The engagement conversations has been captured in a range of different media in the exhibition. First of all, there's the panels which capture the citizens' wishes and the architects' ideas. There is a series of 5 films which were made which captured the workshops and where the citizens talked about their wishes and the architects talked about their ideas. And there's also the Cloud of Dreams, which is where all of the wishes from the citizens plus visitors to the exhibition write their wish for the future of their place on a card, and then it ends up in the cloud. So it's a very theatrical but a very kind of engaging process.
What was very key was that nobody wanted to make new buildings. A lot of people looked at what was already there, you know, a reuse of an existing building or something that meant that young people would stay.
The hope is that the whole initiative will have a life beyond the exhibition, and it will be a strong influence on how architects work more directly with communities in the future.